recording. Crescent, is your mic working? Brother Elliot? All right, let's not wait much longer. I'm going to start, as we would start every mass meeting, with the opening hymn, which is written by Arnold Josiah Ford. Rabbi Ford, who was Marcus Garvey's musical director, who was a son of Barbados, who served in the British Navy before joining Garvey, before becoming the leader of the Black Jews of Harlem, and before migrating or repatriating to Ethiopia, where he served under the reign of Emperor Haile Selassie I, and where he died shortly after the invasion by Italy in 1934 and their subsequent 5-year occupation. So we continue to pay him homage by recognizing the work that he did for the UNIA in terms of its musical catalog and the songs that he wrote to inspire us. So we will always begin with a hymn from Rabbi Ford. Please mute your mics if they're open. You can all hear that, yes?
Shine on eternal light to greet our souls this day, despite the gloominess of night, and drive our doubts away. For longing eyes prepare, when war and strife shall cease, to view the morn soon to appear, the new era of peace. Come, love, and give new birth to man's destructive mind. Spread where confusion reign on earth, goodwill to all mankind. Shine on, eternal light, thy penetrating ray shall turn the hour of darkest night into eternal day.
At this point, the ritual and the prayer of the UNIA is repeated. The ritual comes from Psalm 68:34. It is the Ethiopianist call. Princes shall come out of Egypt, and Ethiopia shall stretch forth her hands unto God. The prayer of the UNIA begins with, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, says the Lord of hosts. God of the right our battles fight, be with us as of yore. Break down the barriers of might, we reverently implore. Stand with us in our struggle for the triumph of the right, and spread confusion ever o'er the advocates of might. And let them know that righteousness is mightier than sin, that might is only selfishness and ought not win. Endow us, Lord, with faith and grace and courage to endure the wrongs we suffer here apace, and bless us evermore. And we close with the motto of the UNIA, one God, one aim, one destiny. Chapter presidents and chapter chaplains, branch presidents, branch chaplains. If you do not have copies of this yet, which you should, they were sent to all the group chats. Your president should have them. Please get them and learn them. It's how we begin every meeting. It's a ritual that we repeat in homage to the founders, to the ancestors of this great association. And it speaks to our history, our continuity, our longevity. You know, regardless of what religion you may practice, we pay reverence to the work of the founders of this organization, who came from all types of religions. As I referred to Rabbi Arnold Ford, who wrote the hymn. The prayer was written by John Edward Bruce, who was a Muslim. The Ethiopianist ritual from the Psalms reflects a Judeo-Christian background. We're embracing of all these cross-cultural religions because our people have been trafficked and found themselves spread across the globe, and we are a cross-cultural nation. And the UNIA is a racial confraternity, right? The preamble of our Constitution says the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League is a social, friendly, humanitarian, charitable, educational, institutional, constructive, and expansive society, and is founded by persons desiring to the utmost to work for the general uplift of the Negro peoples of the world. The members pledge to do all in their powers to conserve the rights of their noble race while respecting the rights of all mankind, believing always in the fatherhood of God and the brotherhood of man. The motto of the organization, again, is one God, one aim, one destiny. Therefore, let justice be done to all mankind, knowing that if the strong oppresses the weak, confusion and discontent will ever mark the path of man. But with love, faith, and charity towards all, the reign of peace and plenty shall be heralded into the world, and the generations of men shall be called blessed. Presidents, I've sent you that. You have your constitution. It's page 1. Every president and lady president of a division should try to commit the preamble to memory. It will give you the proper source and material to defend the organization. When people ask you what the UNIA is about, just think of the preamble. It again was written by Marcus Garvey and the early founders of the UNIA to state clearly what this confraternity was about, what our objectives are. Notice it says it believes in the brotherhood of man, the fatherhood of God, right? It believes in conserving our rights while respecting the rights of all mankind. So let no one tell you that the UNIA is a racist organization. We are a race-first organization in that we feel Black people should do for Black people and not be dependent upon others to do for us. What we should do for ourselves together, united as a family, as brothers and sisters. And this is why we are a confraternity. We're not a fraternity of just men or a sorority of just women. We are a confraternity of men, women, and children, right? Boys and girls. So again, thank you all for joining us. It's a full house. Again, special recognition to presidents and officers of other divisions from as far as the UK who are here, from chapters, college chapters here in Jamaica, from our Manchester branch, headquartered in Resource. And I also want to recognize members of the Jamaica Fire Brigade who are here in support of our guest speaker, who wears many hats, one of them as Lady President of the UNIA chapter at Michael University College, but also as an EMT and firefighter with the Jamaica Fire Brigade. And I'm happy to see her brothers and sisters of the brigade, itself a confraternity, joining to hear her message to us today. It's International Women's History Month. On Wednesday, is it? It will be International Women's Day. And so we're happy to highlight the women of the UNIA, past and present, today. And it's the reason why we've invited such a phenomenal lady president to address you all. But before we get into that, we do a few things during these mass meetings. One of them are the Garvey lessons, which we ask members to prepare and share with you today. We're going to have readings from the lady president of Northwood Teachers College, as a poem from Garvey. Sister Lenora, I'm going to have to mute you there. And also Lady President Lenora Allen from the Resource Branch will be reading from some of Garvey's writings on women. And the final Garvey lesson I will contribute myself, which is an important lesson. Let me welcome Sister Melda Brown. Melda, I don't know if you can turn on your camera, but when I see you, I have to greet you. Another phenomenal past lady president of the Church Teachers College. and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think another one of our bright stars that may have migrated and gone away. Melda, are you in Jamaica or you are away?
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, I'm still in Jamaica. Won't be
Woohoo!
able to turn on my camera.
Well, we're
But
certainly glad you
thank you for the
haven't left.
welcome.
Yes, yes, she did phenomenal work organizing the first chapter at Church Teachers College, which Crescent now is at the helm of. And so he's got big, big shoes to fill. All right. Okay. Let's not take any more greetings. I see my own wife online who is a member, so let me recognize her. A longtime member of the division who has done phenomenal work for the division. I'm sure she's driving, so may not be able to say too much, but we greet you, Mrs. Golding. Jessica, are you ready? Can we put you up for the first Garvey lesson?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. The Black Mother, written by Marcus Garvey. Where can I find a love that never changes? Smiles that are true and always just the same. Caring not how the fierce tempest ranges, willing ever to shield my honored name. This I find at home, only with mother, who cares for me with patient tenderness. She from every human pain would rather save me and drink the dregs of bitterness. If on life's way I happen to founder, my true thoughts should be of mother dear. She is the rock that never rifts asunder, the cry of her child to be it far or near. This is love, wonderful beyond compare. It is God's choicest gift to mortal man. You, who know mother, in this thought must share, for she of all is angel of your clan. My mother is black, loveliest of all. Yes, she is as pure as the new made morn. Her song of glee is a clear rhythmic call to these arms of love to which I was born. I shall never forget you, sweet mother, wherever in life I may happen to roam. Thus shall always be the fairy calmer to turn my dearest thoughts to things at home. Thank you.
Wow, give her a round of applause, please. Well done. I don't know how many of you realize that Garvey was not only a philosopher and a journalist, a statesman, a politician, right? An organizer, a teacher, but he was also an avid poet. In fact, a lot of his poetry has been used by successive generations. Man to Man is So Unjust. People think it's a Bob Marley song called Who the Cap Fit, but it was actually the first stanza of a poem Garvey wrote in 1927. But much of his poetry was written during his period of incarceration, including that piece that Lady President Jessica Hewitt just read. That one was entitled Black Mother. And so that was chosen in recognition of our focus on Women's History Month, this month on International Women's Day, and she certainly did it great justice. Thank you so much for that. That is the first Garvey lesson for today. I'm going to continue recognizing people as they log on because we're expecting a few others to join us from overseas. I did see Brother Jermaine Rowe, a former treasurer for the Kingston division, online just a second ago. No, I don't know if he's still here. I can't see the name again, but he did log on for a second. I want to recognize also Alicia Mignot, who has joined us. Alicia, I'm not sure which chapter you're with. If your mic is working, please jump on and just say hello and let us know which chapter, which branch you're with. as we try to identify our various brothers and sisters who join us in the room. Black History Month has come to an end. The division did a lot of work. We were up and down. We were at Shortwood. We were at the Michael. We were at the Marcus Garvey Technical High School. We participated in a number of seminars with the University of the West Indies and other institutions. We addressed the National Education Institute, is it, or initiative, constantly promoting and pushing the need and the urgency to have Garveyism taught in the schools. And some of you may have seen it in the press, heard it on the radio, as the argument goes around and gets a lot of attention in February. One of the things that was announced was the Marcus Garvey in Schools initiative that has been backed by Dr. Julius Garvey, the second and last son of our first national hero, and which has gotten a lot of support from the Michael University College, particularly their institute there that is led by Dr. Professor Clinton Hutton and others. And so we want to give recognition to that. We want to keep you updated on those works. I did a professional development seminar with the teachers at the Marcus Garvey Technical High School and sat down with their principal, and we are in the middle of constructing a pilot program that would involve that high school, because she's done so much work in expanding it just beyond the academics, but really investing in the technical part of the school and making sure that students have outlets to learn trades if they want. One of the things we realize is that being in a tourist city, in a tourist hub there on the North Coast, that there's no reason why those students and teachers couldn't pool together to invest in businesses that could support the tourism industry. So that's one of the conversations we had. And one of the ideas coming out of that is to organize our African Legions and our Black Cross services with those students being trained and certified to sort of function in Ocho Rios and the surrounding areas, Discovery Bay and so forth, as whether, security companies for their villas, watchmen or what's it not, or Black Cross services that can do their villa services and so forth. So we've been putting our thinking caps on. We've been in the lab. Again, I gotta tell you, an emphasis needs to be put on wealth creation for the organization. We don't want to just be an organization that is talking or protesting, or when it comes to issue about Black people. The real challenge that we have as a race globally is wealth creation within our community and how that wealth is circulated, recirculated, and amplified. And so I believe, and this division is pursuing a course where we feel that those auxiliaries can be commercialized in a way that they can become revenue earners for the division. And this is one of the reasons why I think in the persons such as Lady President Antoinette Spencer, Anderson Spencer, who have those technical skills, we can build industries around them. We can outfit auxiliaries that they could play a prominent leadership role in putting together, right? It's very important. And one of the things I want to raise too later after she speaks is the fact that, Jamaica is in dire need of a paramedic service. We don't have paramedics within the corporate area, so to speak, who respond to accidents. And I know we have members of the fire brigade here, so they can correct me if I'm wrong. This usually takes place in those rural areas. And nowadays, and I've made this point so many times, if you get into a car accident and you're injured on the road in Jamaica, it's the policemen who take you up and put you in the car or in the back of the Jeep and carry you to the hospital. Sometimes you don't even know the extent of the injury. It could be the transportation that finally kills you as opposed to the injury. So, the UNIA is interested in raising these points with the authority. I've already had a conversation with the Junior Minister of Health asking why don't we have a proper functioning paramedic service. I've raised the issue within the CARICOM Reparations Commission and in Reparations Council as the fact that some of the areas that need immediate attention, if we're talking about reparation and how these dollars can be put to work, are these low-hanging fruits, like the quality of health services that our people are given. And it should be provided at no expense to them, given the fact that we are entitled to reparations for over 3 centuries of free labor, and not just labor, but all kinds of scientific experiments that we were subjugated to, all kinds of tortures, all sort of atrocities. Black people shouldn't be having to ask for proper medical service after going through all of that, or even insurance in covering it. So we'll talk more about that as we progress. I see some more people in the room right now. Good afternoon, Bailey. Good afternoon, Laura from London. If you all want to say a brief greetings, identify yourself, where you're from, what chapter you're with, please feel free to do so before I invite Lady President Allen from the Resource Division to bring us a word of greetings before she does our second Garvey lesson.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm Asa Bailey, and I was invited by Lady Allen from Resource Division. It's my second time joining on the meeting, and I'm happy to be learning more about UNIA, and I have some literature that I have to read through, so I'm glad that I can have a direct orientation as well.
Excellent, Brother Bailey. That means you're a member of the resource branch, so we welcome you. We welcome you. Laura from London, good night to you. I know it's pretty late where you are, if you really are in London, but we do want to say thank you for taking the time to join us.
Well, thank you for having me. And I'm not from London. I'm in Florida, but I was invited by Brother Minister. So excellent. Yeah, and I'm a new member too.
All right. Okay, so it's not late where you are then. We are on the same time schedule. And not so cold where you are. I saw the other brother from London. He was all bundled up. All right. Sister Leonora, you have the floor.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
What the night is to the day is woman to man. The period of change that brings us light out of darkness, darkness out of light, and semi-light out of darkness are like the changes we find in woman day by day. She makes one happy, then miserable. You are to her kind, then unkind. Constant yet inconstant. Thus, we have women. No real man can do without her. Thank you.
Thank you, Lady President Allen. You certainly read that, I loved it. You heard what the woman said. No real man. Men, your brothers, you hear that? No real man can do without her, right? I love to hear that, especially in a world today that seems confused. And what they call, another name them use for confusion now is fluid. They're fluid and confused, right? It's important that we understand that the UNIA was founded and grounded on certain principles. Even our Constitution demands that every chapter, division, or branch has a president and a lady president, and they are both presidents of equal status. It's just that we understand in organizing ourselves as a family, indeed as a community, and indeed as a nation, there are things that our women are more suitable to deal with, and there are other things that our men are more suitable to deal with. It's not that one is greater than the other or one is lesser than the other. It simply recognizes that balance that nature has given us in life. And we try to reflect that through our organization. And that is why we have presidents, vice presidents, as well as lady presidents and lady vice presidents, as our Constitution refers to them. That piece that she read is from the Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey, which incidentally this year marks 100 years since it was first published. It was published in 1923 by Amy Jacques Garvey, during a period where Marcus Garvey had been incarcerated and was about to be put on trial for mail fraud. And so that book which is a remarkable piece of work, a collection of his speeches, his writings, his sayings, and sort of like a narrative of the work of the organization in its early days. He put that together really to be his own medium to communicate to the public, because he realized that those trumped up charges that he was going to be put on trial for was a part of a smear campaign, and that there was an element within the press that was determined to crush him, to label him as an undesirable, as somebody as doing no good for the community. So Garvey, being a printer, being a journalist, was proactive and decided that he would create a record, in his own words, of the work that he was doing and the objectives he was trying to obtain. And that book has certainly stood the test of time. Now 100 years old in 2023. I hope all of you have a copy. If not, get in touch with iNation. He's also a member. I haven't seen him log on yet, but if he was here, he would certainly be plugging his bookstore and telling you where you can find him and where you can get a copy. So it's very important. That particular piece that she read too was also turned into song. I don't know how many reggae fans, real reggae fans, are in the room, but there is an artist by the name of Warrior King who sings a song, Virtuous Woman. No real man can live without a woman. Like night today is a woman to her man. Now you've heard the Garvey's version. You see that Warrior King was reading the philosophy and opinions when he put that song together, word for word. What night is today is a woman to her man. That's how he starts the song. So just a tidbit of history there, and the influence and impact that the teachings of our illustrious founder, the Right Excellent Marcus Garvey, has had on generations. And even in Garvey's works becoming a means of wealth creation for our reggae artists and musical artists. That is undeniable. So even they themselves should pay homage to Marcus Garvey for providing the material that they are able to use in their craft, right? All right. I am going to now ask our guest speaker if she's ready. It's 6 minutes before 4 o'clock. We're not going past 5 o'clock. And I know she has much to say. I've already said so much about her in introducing her, but if you didn't hear, I'll remind you. I met her when she became the lady president of the UNIA chapter at the Michael University College. Subsequent to that, in sitting down and conversing with her, I found out that she was an emergency medicine technician. She was also a firefighter, I think stationed with one of the North Coast branches of the brigade. She is a student teacher at the university pursuing her degree in teaching. She's a wife, a mother to Antoinette, if I am correct. Turn on unmute your mic. You gotta unmute. So wife, mother, firefighter, teacher, entrepreneur. She reminded me also, don't ramp with her, right? This is what Garvey spoke about. You know, the women of the UNIA have been so important over the period of our existence. People always talk a lot about the two Amy's, Amy Ashwood and Amy Jakes Garvey, themselves Pan-African giants in their own right. But there were so many other women who were instrumental. I mentioned one earlier in the person of Sarah Branch, who was instrumental in the formation of the Black Cross Auxiliary of the UNIA. But there are also people like Lady Henrietta Vinton Davis. If you don't know her, look her up. This was a lady who worked with the American abolitionist Frederick Douglass, who was a stage actress and an orator, a great orator, probably only matched by Marcus Garvey. But when she met Marcus Garvey, she was so enthralled by his message and his mission that she stopped what she was doing to join the UNIA, and Garvey made her the first international organizer of the association. A phenomenal woman. And I'm happy to see that the UNIA is still producing phenomenal women. So as I mentioned, our guest speaker today falls within that category. And without further ado, I will let her tell you her story, right? From teacher to firefighter to emergency medicine technician, wife, mother, woman. No real man can do without her. Antoinette, the floor is yours. Unmute. You have to unmute your mic though. I see you speaking, but you're muted. Just unmute.
Are you hearing me?
Yeah, we're hearing you now. We're hearing and seeing you. Sorry, I was answering you and I was muted and didn't realize. Go ahead. No, you're muted again. You touch the mute again. Unmute.
You're hearing me now?
Perfect, perfect. Yeah, just keep an eye on it.
All right. Just give me just a few. That you're coming in. All right. So I'm at the fire station currently.
Are you on duty?
No, I'm not.
So if there's a fire, we're not going to lose you.
No. I'm currently in Port Maria for a netball game. So I have to use the station for Wi-Fi and all of that.
All right, my lady.
All right. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Sir Golden, for having me. All protocols observed. With that introduction, I know most persons know what I'm about, and so I'm just going to be telling you a little bit about myself. But I'm going back to when I was a baby. So growing up, I didn't know what I wanted to become. I struggled with finding my purpose, my true identity. Have you ever wondered what your purpose is? I'm leaving that question open to everybody. Now, I have always been wondering what my purpose was. Since I was at primary school, I used to think I'm the darkest one in my immediate family. So I usually felt like an outcast, the black sheep in the family. And I felt as if I was treated differently because I was the darkest. I remember there was a song being played on the radio. Them a bleach out them skin. Them a bleach to look like a browning. My mom had a grocery store back then. And I went inside, I picked up a bottle of bleach, poured it in the bath around the back, and I started bathing and singing that song because I wanted to look like a browning. But little did I know that it wasn't that bleach they used to get brown skin. I don't know where I got that notion from, but it came to my mind that nothing black is good. And these issues followed me into adulthood. I went to Westwood High School. I was a boarder for 5 years. My mom employed a washer lady to wash my clothes. I remember the first couple of months, I fired that lady and I started to collect the money that my mom would use, that the mom would give me to give her. So I used to give this money to my house mother. And I remember she called me one evening in her room and she said to me, Antoinette, why your mommy giving you so much money and you're not using it? I'm going to have to talk to your mother when she come up here, you know. So I went and I took all my money from her because I didn't want her to tell my mama. Because remember now, I fired this lady and started to collect the money. And then some months, like my mom would give me the money at the first of the month. And then by the end of the month, she'd say to me, Antoinette, did I give you money for the washer lady? And I would tell her no and collect the money again. So sometimes I get the money twice in 1 month. So anyway, I took the money from my house mother, and one fourth weekend when I went home, I went to the bank. I went to Scotia Bank and I asked them if I could open an account to put my money in. But they said that I was too young and I needed an adult to open the account for me. No, I couldn't tell my mommy that I fired my washer lady and washing my clothes for myself and saving all this money. So I went to one of my friends who was in grade 11 at the time at William Name, and I let her open the account with me, and I started saving in that account. I after I left Westwood, I went to Excelsior Community College. I didn't do long there, and I stopped. I had that tendency. I used to start school and stop. I did Excelsior, I stopped. Sorry about that. That's the fire truck going out. So I did Excelsior Community College and I stopped because um I didn't like it there. Like some days I have classes, some days I didn't. But while I was there, we had some students who were struggling financially. And me and my best friend, we started doing a fish fry around the back of the container and sell bag juice so that we could help them pay their school fee and all of that. So I started doing all these entrepreneurship from a very tender age. And I make a business opportunity out of everything. I remember again one time I was watching a cricket match on the television and I saw my best friend on the TV with her pot cover, knocking her pot cover. And I'm like, I called her the evening. I said, see at the match. And she said, there's match keeping tomorrow, you know. So I jumped on a country bus, went to town, and I went to the match. Anyway, I always walk with food because me always hungry. So I took a, a bag of snacks and juice and water. We had our igloo, food and all of that. When I was there was this little girl in our row. She wanted water and something to eat. But when our mom went to the snack counter, the water was $200. And the mom said to the child that I can't afford it. It's too expensive. So I said to my bestie, so listen, I'm going to start sell out this thing come out of the igloo. You see, by the end of the day, we had nothing to eat because I sold everything. I sold everything out of the igloo. So it was always like that for me. I was always try to help, always try to be doing stuff. After XED, I went to Montego Bay Community College. I did 3 months there. I stopped. And then I tried for the Jamaica Fire Brigade. When I did the interview, I went straight up to interview and they said that I didn't pass the interview. So I applied to the Michael to do a teaching degree. I got accepted and I started Michael in 2010. In 2013, I got pregnant. So I had to stop school and I was determined I was going to finish Michael. But all right, I got pregnant. So I had to sit out. So that year when everybody was graduating and getting their degree, I had my daughter Carissa. And then I stopped going Michael. I tried back again for the Jamaica Fire Brigade and I got through. So going to I started the Jamaica Fire Brigade. And then while I was there, I went to a funeral for a lecturer and I saw one of my past lecturers. And she said, Antoinette, you're not coming to school to finish. And I said to her, Miss, even if me at 99, I'm coming back to finish. Anyway, from she spoke with me, I got the ball a roll. I wrote to the registrar and she sent me back an email and I did what she said and I went back into the Michael. So here I was a full-time worker at the Jamaica Fire Brigade in Trelawney. I had just finished doing my EMT course, so I could work on the ambulance as well. And then now I am a full-time student at the Michael. You know, sometimes I wonder, I was disappointed in myself back then because I didn't finish school. But sometimes some setback is for the greater good, because here I am now, because back then we didn't have the Garveyism course. I wouldn't have known Mr. Golden. I wouldn't be here speaking to you. So it has made me evolve so that I can now sit and talk to you and talk to you about where I've been and where I'm coming from. After doing Garveyism, I am now one of Garvey's biggest fans. If I'd known him back then, he would have been my biggest inspiration. The black skin is not a badge of shame, but rather a glorious symbol of national greatness. Words spoken by the late Marcus Mosiah Garvey. This quote was the affirmation I needed back then, because I've struggled hard internally and I didn't think I was capable, good enough, pretty enough. So I buried myself in doing work to get away from my thoughts. Just 2 days ago, I was on Facebook and I saw a post where a young female posted Ecclesiastes 11 verse 2, the New International Version, where it says, invest in 7 ventures, yes. In 8, you do not know what disaster may come upon the land. And when I saw that scripture, I think to myself, I said, but this is me, because I've been a firefighter for almost 4 years now, and I am telling you, I love it. It gives me a sense of accomplishment and fulfillment to know that I've helped in saving lives and protecting properties. And it's made me, and it's a male dominating organization. And as a female, I try to bring my A game at all times. Now, G.D. Anderson states that feminism isn't about making women stronger. Women are already strong. It's about changing the way the world perceives that strength. And even the other day, I was on a call and a gentleman asked, why are you allowing the lady to do the work? And I reply, we both get the same pay. I can do, I don't need preference. Anything they can do, I can do it too. It's not always been easy being the rose among the thorn, but once you know what you're about and what you can manage, some women fear the fire, some women simply become it. Today, I am a testament of that fire. You too can become that fire. Maya Angelou said, my mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style. By no means am I just here because I need to leave an impact, and I'm determined to leave a mark. So as I was telling you, last year I went a little bit further. So not only am I a firefighter, I enrolled myself at the University of West Indies and did the pre-hospitality emergency course. So I'm now an EMT firefighter. I'm not working on the ambulance full time, but time to time I will help out on the section when persons go on leave. So I am here making myself marketable to the work. I am also a full-time student at the Michael University College. So the race, I'm here to tell you, the race is not for the swift, but for who can endure. Me and my husband, we are also business owner. We operate SNA Farm Store and Hardware in Trelawney. It comes with its challenges too, but I'm learning as I go along. I have 2 ventures currently going. I also have a building block factory that we're getting off the ground as we speak. And you know, if anyone is here from NCV, I'm hoping they invest in me for my next project. I'm trying to secure a piece of property in Trelawney to do a technical school and a YMCA where we'll do like music, dance, drama, swimming, and technical subjects, sewing, tailoring, dressmaking, shoemaking, stuff like that. Empowering woman isn't sorry about that. Hello, you hearing me?
We're hearing you, man. You're doing great.
Sorry, don't hear the nerves.
But I see the strength.
Well, that I can attest to. I always try to keep going. The head of my section, she's all of the, well, in the brigade, in our area, we are in, well, the brigade is section in areas. And I'm a part of area 2. And area 2 is run by a female, or Madam Commissioner. And she's all about empowering females. And when I told her I had this, she gave me 2 quotes. One by Crystalline, I think, Georgieva, we are richer when women are equal. And one by Barack Obama. Empowering women isn't just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do. I think my husband can attest to that. So I charge everyone, especially you females, never you back down. And even if you think or you don't know or you're looking at the challenges, just take that first step. Sometimes you just need to start. You don't need to know. Sometimes you're wondering where the money is going to come from or if you're going to get support from anyone. But sometimes you just need to go out and take that first step. And it hasn't been easy, and it takes a lot of time and family time, because as I said, I have two children. I have my son is in high school, and my daughter. Just the other day, my daughter had a conversation, and she said to me, "Mommy, teacher said me rich." So I said, "Oh, teacher, if you tell her you're rich and you never worked before." And she said to me, "Mommy, what do you mean by me never worked before? Remember me sell cornflakes, sweetie, and jealous at school." So my daughter has already been following in my footsteps. She goes to the supermarket every evening after school and buy her cornflakes and buy her sweetie, and she come home and she bag them up and she go back to school and she sells them. So I know that I am portraying good values for persons looking in. And I just want to implore everyone, just women, know your strength and don't hide behind it. Persons, just come out and do what you know you are capable of. And that's it. Thank you very much for having me and for hearing me out.
Give her a round of applause, everyone, please. Please. I don't know if you give applause. Yeah, there we go. With the icons. Excellent. Inspiration. See the firefighter sharing with you her fire, right? You don't get that often. Normally they're putting out the fire. She's sharing with you the fire, right? I want to commend her. I want to congratulate her. I also want to recognize Assistant Commissioner Julian Buckle, I think, who is online. Assistant Commissioner, if you are, please say a word of greeting there. I saw someone point out in the chat that you were online, and I think Lady President Anderson Spencer referenced you. in her speech. Welcome, Assistant Commissioner.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. That's my girl. I'm here smiling ear to ear, just listening to her. I'm here smiling. I'm so proud of her. Yes, she told me about her. She doing this, and I'm so happy for her. I started, as she told me, I said, you start writing already. What is your topic? What are you speaking on? And yes, I sent her the quote from Obama, because that's a quote that I use it every day, because yes, we are in a male-dominated organization. And I just want my counterparts to know that empowering women is not just the right thing to do. It is a smart thing to do. I am sure Area 2, to which I'm working now, under women leadership, is a smarter area than it was years ago when all men were being in charge of that area. So yes, congratulations, Spencer. I'm proud of you. Keep going, girl. You know I'm behind you. You know I'm supporting all that you do, as long as it's spelled development. I am there with you. Thanks. I love the movement. I love everything. Keep going.
Excellent. Thank you, Assistant Commissioner.
Thank you.
We have some powerful women in the room. Powerful women. It's a great way for us to start Women's History Month. Excellent job, Lady President. And, you know, the UNIA has become the association that it is because of the members that drive it. And I think one of the things Garvey was excellent at doing was recruiting very special and talented members of our race. And it is the reason why the UNIA today is still the largest mass movement of Black people ever organized, and what made our first national hero a world icon for being able to achieve that, given the limitations of the time in which he lived. And so when I see people like Lady President Antoinette, these are the kind of soldiers we need to recruit to Garvey's movement, to Garvey's organization, as we move into the 21st century and forward, right? It's very important that we have these kinds of skills, and not just specific skills, but a quality of character that you heard in her own words there, as she relayed her own experience and what she's been through and how far she has come. That level of determination, that sort of diligence, that sort of tenacity, that sort of dedication and drive is what is necessary for us to grow this organization and for it to, as Garvey says, accomplish what it will, right? I want to take the time now to recognize a few people who have come into the room since we started. Male president for the Michael University College chapter, Andre Dunn, is online with us. Also, UNIA historian and international organizer out of Washington, D.C., Brother Mariam Kamau is with us. Please, gentlemen, if you can turn on your mics, maybe your cameras, and say a word of greetings, it would be greatly appreciated.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I had just got in from church, however, I'm glad that I was able to catch a part of my lady president for the Micah chapter. And it was really empowering to hear her speak like that. As you all know, Garvey would have been one to major in public speaking, and I'm just really proud of her. And as Sir Golding had mentioned, this is the perfect way on how to start the Women's Month. So well done, Antoinette. I'm really proud of you, and just keep being great, okay?
Kudos to you, President Andre.
Thank you.
And to all the officers of the Michael chapter. It's an exceptional chapter. It's the first of our college chapters. It's been in existence since 2004. So next year they will be celebrating 20 years of activity on the campus. And I can't want for a better cohort of officers than in this particular batch this year. President Dunn, Lady President Anderson Spencer, guided by their faculty advisor, Mrs. Beckford Simpson, And as I mentioned earlier, I don't know if she's still online, but there's a past lady president online, Yassine Simpson, who would be so ecstatic to see the growth of the chapter there and the fact that they're still functioning and full of activity. It speaks to a legacy that she was a part of creating. International organizer Mariama Kamau, can we hear from you, sir?
Yes, sir. Great Garvey Day, my brother. Greetings to everyone. I only heard parts of the presentation by the lady president, but was thoroughly impressed and inspired. And she really embodied the spirit, in my opinion, of some of the Garveyites of old, some of the legendary, iconic Garveyite women of old. I always refer to our beloved Senate leader, the most honorable, unconquerable, incomparable Marcus Mosiah Garvey, as the standard bearer of success under duress, who was blessed to do far more with less. And the sister embodied that spirit of being able to do what others doubted she could do, was being able to learn and persevere in so many areas. You know, reminds me of many years ago, a lot of the schools used to teach home economics. They used to teach us how to do things for ourselves, by ourselves, that would save ourselves a lot of money and be able to, you know, have compassion for one another and, you know, have good welfare societies, you know, so that we in the UNIA, in honor and our claim of reclaiming the fallen, assisting the needy, etc., we need to have certain skill sets during times of disaster, during times of need, you know, in our community. And there's just certain things, you know, we just haven't done enough of for ourselves collectively, and we've lost the understanding of how to do. And I think under her leadership, we can start to revitalize basics. A lot of, for example, in the United States, a lot of women spend thousands of dollars every year just doing their hair and nails, just doing, you know, rather than doing it themselves. They pay someone else to come do some things for them. They, you know, they can't cook their own meals. They got to pay someone else by going to a restaurant every day, spending, you know, $50, $60 to cook noodles and rice for them, which they can't do basic things for themselves. They don't know how to heal themselves if they get sick. They got to keep running to the hospital and spending thousands in medical expenses for things that, you know, we should have some basic knowledge of. You know, we don't know how to fix our own clothes. We don't know how to, you know, do any of the basic things. So, you know, because of our ignorance and, you know, maybe some of our complacency, we haven't been able to do a lot for our community, and others who've seen an opportunity to exploit it will come in and take advantage of us. But once we begin to reclaim our own ability to do things, you know, begin to think the way this system is thinking, to do, you know, as much as we possibly can, and then share that knowledge with one another and help, you know, all of us become that much more enlightened and skilled and prepared for the world we live in. You know, as a collective, I think we all will do much better than we have been, and we'll be richly rewarded for it. You know, but I was definitely inspired, and appreciate, you know, the sister's presentation, and, you know, thank sister for sharing that presentation with us today.
Okay, thanks, Mariama. Sorry, I lost my Zoom window there for a second. But appreciate those words, international organizer. I want to do the final Garvey lesson now. We're coming up close to 4:30. And I do want to have a little time for us to interact and bounce some ideas off of each other. So once we wrap up with the formalities of the program of the mass meeting, please, those who can stay on so that we can ground a little further about the auxiliaries, about the Black Cross, and about how we can become more active in the greater association. The final Garvey lesson I want to share today is from the Declaration of Rights of the Negro people of the world. And it is one that speaks particularly to the reverence with which Marcus Garvey held our women, not just in the organization, but in general, as it relates to the race and to us as a people. It is declaration number 29 of the Declaration of Rights of the Negro people of the world. For those of you who don't know what the Declaration of Rights of the Negro people of the world is, it is a phenomenal document that was drafted at the first International Convention of the UNIA, which was dubbed the International Convention of the Negro Peoples of the World in New York City in August of 1920. So we're talking about 123 years ago. And it contains 54 declarations which were pronounced to the world in terms of how they should meet and treat with the Negro race. And it was deliberated on by over 25,000 delegates in convention for 30 days in the month of August, chaired by the Right Excellent Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and at which a number of prominent UNIA leaders were elected and who participated. It is that document that gave us the red, black, and green flag, as well as the Universal Ethiopian Anthem. It is that document that in the first declaration declared that every African descendant, wherever they were in the world, were being claimed as citizens of Africa. This is how forward-thinking our founder was. I mean, there have been several Magna Cartas in the world, including the Declaration of Rights of the Human and the Citizens in France in the 18th century, 1789 to be exact, including the United States Declaration of Independence, which spoke about the right of every man to pursue life, liberty, happiness. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights that was propagated by the United Nations in 1948 or 47, it was 48, I believe. This document preceded the UN Declaration by over 2 decades. It's important that we understand that because it's a document that very little is spoken about it in global circles. But yet Garvey presented this document to the League of Nations on several occasions, and in person himself in 1928. He traveled to Geneva, Switzerland, and delivered it personally. So it's a document that these world organizations, be it the League or the United Nations, have had on file before they even created the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And if you compare the two documents, you can see a number of similarities, right? So Declaration number 29, which I want to choose to read to you today, states, with the help of Almighty God, we declare ourselves the sworn protectors of the honor and virtue of our women and children, and pledge our lives for their protection and defense everywhere and under all circumstances from wrongs and outrages. Number 29 of 54 declarations, which states that we are prepared to sacrifice honor, life, and wealth for the protection of our women and our children. And I think it's something every Black man should imbibe and should be a code by which they live. Whenever we see our women or children of our race in any sort of distress, we should not hesitate to answer the call and to step up in defense of them, right? It says if you want to build a nation, right, you start with the women, right? You want to protect your nation, you got to start by protecting the women. You want to educate your nation, you start by educating the women, right? And Marcus Garvey understood this even before the women's adult suffrage movement out of the Americas. He was saying that when we organize, we have to consider the strengths of our women as well as the strengths of our men. Hence, as I said before, every division, chapter, or branch has a president and a lady president, right? And we're not shy in discriminating for gender. We don't throw everybody into the same pile. We have to recognize our men as men and our women as women. And that is a fundamental part of the fabric of this organization. So again, Declaration 29 of the Declaration of Rights of the Negro Peoples of the World says, with the help of Almighty God, we declare ourselves the sworn protectors of the honor and virtue of our women and children, and pledge our lives for their protection and defense everywhere and under all circumstances from wrongs and outrages. So while we have our women who might be out there fighting fires, we want them to know that at any given moment, we are prepared to fight for them, their honor, and their virtue. So again, kudos to our special guest speaker today, Lady President Antoinette Anderson Spencer, for that riveting and inspirational speech about her journey, her life, her ambitions, her struggles, what she's overcome, what she has accomplished. I know you all appreciated that, and I see it from the responses in the chat. It certainly meant a lot. So again, congratulations to you, Lady President, and we're looking forward to so much more from you as the Lady President of one of our strong college chapters, our oldest college chapter. And we hope your lessons and your experiences and the strength that we see in you will be passed on and sort of proliferated through the chapter that you represent. And we look forward to them doing great things. I know President Dunn is online too, and he echoed those sentiments earlier. So thanks so much for that riveting and enriching and empowering speech. And to all the women in the room, to all the women who are members of the division, we wish you a happy International Women's Day on Wednesday as we continue to celebrate women's history, to know that, you know, you are an important part of the division. And in many times, you know, in our history as a people, believe me, you all carry more than your fair share of the load. And without you, we could not be, you know, as Lady President at the Shortwood College read the poem of Garvey about Black Mother. It's so important because we all come from women. You know, even the fetus in the womb of the woman is first female before it attains its male status. Check your science and you will see that is the case. Again, everyone, thank you for joining us. I'm going to, before we play the Universal Ethiopian Anthem, I'm going to ask if there are any announcements, and I'm going to lead by saying this Thursday, March 9th, we are going to be at the Edna Manley College for the Visual and Performing Arts. I will be there to give a lecture on Garveyism and also to recruit new members for the EMC chapter. I'm inviting the officers from the other college chapters who are available and able to make it. Or if you want to travel with me, you can get in touch with me and we see how that can be arranged. To join me there and help recruit new members for that campus, right? We've had a chapter there since, I think, 2009, which has gone a little, what do you call it, inactive during the COVID pandemic. But last year I did a lecture there, and we had several members who were willing to get the chapter reactivated and going. We haven't been able to close the deal on that, and that's what we hope to do this Thursday. So President Dunn, President Hewitt, President Ricketts, I don't know if he's online, but if not, Jesse, you can give him the message. For those particularly officers of other college chapters who are available on Thursday, it's between 2 and 4 p.m. And who want to come on ground with their counterparts and their brothers and sisters at the Edna Manley College, please, you know, send me a message in the WhatsApp group, and we'll see how that can be arranged, right? Finally, before we close, any other announcements from the chapters or from anybody else? The floor is open. No other announcements? All right. We will close with the playing of the UNIA anthem, as people call it. It is really the universal Ethiopian anthem, which also was written by Rabbi Arnold Josiah Ford for the UNIA. And it, by our constitution and our directive as it relates to mass meetings, it is to be played at the end of all our meetings. And so I will share that. I will share that with you all now. College chapters, you have the link in your WhatsApp group, so we expect you to utilize this also at your meetings on your campus.
Ethiopia, thou land of our fathers, thou land where the gods love to be. A storm cloud at night suddenly gathers, all armies come rushing to thee. We must in the fight be victorious, when swords are thrust outward to gleam. For us will the victory be glorious, when led by the red, black, and green. Advance, advance to victory, let Africa be free. Advance to meet the foe, advance to meet the foe, with the might of the red, the black, and the green, with the might of the red, the black, and the green. O Jehovah, thou God of the ages, grant unto our sons that lead the wisdom thou gave to thy sages when Israel was sore in need. Thy voice to the dim past has spoken, Ethiopia shall stretch forth her hand. By thee shall all fetters be broken, and heaven bless our dear motherland. Advance, advance to victory, let Africa be free. Advance to meet the foe, advance to meet the foe, with the might of the red, the black, and the green, with the might of the red, the black, and the
One God,
One God,
One aim.
One aim.
One destiny.
One destiny.
One destiny.
Thank you all for coming out. Don't log off too quickly right now, because we did want to discuss, particularly with the college chapters who are represented here, and the resource branch.
Yes.
The auxiliaries of the UNIA are the juvenile division, which is the auxiliary that organizes, juveniles below the age of 18. There is also the Universal African Legions, which was a men's auxiliary fashioned like a paramilitary unit to provide military training for young men, training of discipline. There's the Black Cross, which we've been speaking about all day for women, dealing with nursing and public health. And there's also the African Motor Corps, which was an auxiliary created to train women in the use of motor vehicles and in their repairs and so forth. Now, these were the 4 auxiliaries established by our Constitution. And it's where we want to put some focus in terms of how we can revitalize those auxiliaries. And I think on the college campuses, there's a great opportunity for us to organize the Legions and the Black Cross nurses, maybe even the Motor Corps if we're ambitious. But certainly to start with the Legions and Black Crosses would be a great way. Now, we've done it in the past by offering members who are interested to be certified in first aid and practical nursing with the St. John's Ambulance, who also bear a Black Cross as their symbol. That option is still there. But I think with people like Lady President Anderson Spencer, and by recruiting others, some that I have in mind who are operating practical nursing homes, there must be a way that we can come up with not only certifying these people, we don't want them to just have the knowledge, but to them organize them into a corps that carries out these services, not just for the division, like, tending to the elders and checking on the young ones or whatever, babysitting babies at meetings. Those are simple functions, but to also build out of it a business that could provide services, whether housekeeping, babysitting, or, looking after elderly ones who are indigent or sick or in the home, for people who want to pay for those services. I want to put that idea out there because I'm looking for you all as officers and members on your various campuses to help us recruit and put this program together so that it is functional. So I wanted to get some ideas and some thoughts from you all on how that could work and what is the best way to approach it. I know that on the college campuses, you're there for your degree, so your lessons are a priority, but this could be a particular way of starting a business that would be able to take you beyond graduation, and to create a structure and a source of income, both for the division and for the people who are working within those auxiliaries. So let me hear some ideas. Let me hear some thoughts as regards that. And I want to start with the officers. And President Dunn, Lady President Anderson Spence, Lady President Hewitt, you are here. President Crescent Elliott, we haven't been able to hear you. I don't know if your microphone is working. But if it is, please chime in here. And all the past presidents also, former Lady President Melda Brown, international organizer Mariama Kamau, Lady President Allen in resource, please chime in on your thoughts. Let me know if you understand what I'm saying, if I need to explain further, or if you can envision the concept I'm putting forward. Go ahead, Leonora.
Getting back in line.
Yeah, man, we're hearing you.
Okay, so what I could do is like the community, the young people of the community, could get them enrolled with churches So they can be partakers of the program?
Yes, that's a good point. And that's why I wish Crescent would open his microphone so we could hear, or send me a message in the chat. So if your microphone is not working, Crescent Elliott, who you see online, Leonora, is the president for the Church Teachers College chapter. Melda Brown, who is still online, is a former lady president. I believe she graduated last year. Melda, Leonora is a lady president for the resource branch, and they have had elections and are newly organized with new officers, and they've very much been asking me how they can connect with the Church Teachers College chapter. And maybe organizing this auxiliary is a good project for us to ground and work on. I don't know if you have any thoughts of how we can get them better connected between you and Crescent. Please chime in.
Okay. Well, I will visit the school and get to her. Is there a number? Is she could put up her telephone number that I could?
All right, good afternoon.
Go ahead, Melda. Melda, we're hearing you, but we lost it.
Oh, you lost him. All right.
Yep.
So I do know that the faculty advisor remains the same from when I was there. So what I can do is tomorrow I'll speak with her and see exactly what is happening with Crescent and see how best a connection can be made.
Excellent. All right. And then if anything, I can put Lenora in touch with them and we see how it goes. We also plan to come out to NCU, Northern Caribbean University. We had never quite gotten a chapter off the ground there. We had done an informational session and we had gotten interest. That was many years ago, but I believe it needs to be done again. And I would look for the Church Teachers College chapter, which is down the road from them, to help me spearhead that. So something to bear in mind. And this is how we want to connect them with the branch in resource, because, you know, they're a rural branch, they're a small community, but we want to grow that branch into a wider, a wider division to serve the Manchester parish. And so church and NCU and those college chapters in that parish would be able to bolster that branch there. Lady President Antoinette Anderson Spencer, your thoughts? How we can get the Black Cross going? How we can get a core of men and women, women and men, because these are different times, who are trained, whether in emergency medicine, whether in practical nursing, whether they go on to become registered nurse, but in terms of the whole, you know, medical service and beyond that, you know, nursing services. Want to hear your thoughts.
Well, sir, probably we need to target persons who are already in the system.
Good idea. Good idea. And you're the perfect person to help us with that.
Nurses. Yes, sir, no problem. I'll do anything. I'll try to see how I can assist.
Yes.
But sir, once we get them on board, and even the EMT, because it's just a 3 months course, it's just 3 months, and you get your certificate as an EMT.
What's the cost for the course?
So once they have the headspace and they're ready, and it's 100,000 at the moment.
Ah, okay. 100,000 for a 3-month course. Wow, that's intense.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But you know, it's an intense course. It's saving lives.
Okay.
So,
and I heard you say about the nursing schools too. I don't know what your interaction with the nursing schools are, but I've had a difficult time really trying to get Garvey clubs organized there. I don't think they are as accommodating for clubs and societies as the other universities and colleges are. As a specialized school, they seem to be sort of really focused on the nurse training part. But if anybody has a link or an inroad there and that's a way in, that's another avenue that we should explore. I see people are logging off. Boom, 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 boom. Mariama, you want to chime in on something there? See, or is your mic just open?
Yeah. I was liking what everyone has been saying with the trying to build the auxiliaries. The auxiliaries really, in many ways, are the lifeblood of the association. One of our first aims is to promote the spirit of pride and love, which is the basis of everything we do. And auxiliaries typically are the service-based part of the branch. And I was thinking as you were talking, we've been talking over the years about different Black Cross nursing units having like a little medical triage set up, like having a Black Cross tent where, say, if you have a festival and people need, sometimes they get dehydrated, sometimes they have minor cuts and bruises and things that needs treating. Having the capacity and showing the visibility during certain events and times to show the kind of work we can do and what our aims and objectives may actually endear the community toward the program. And different levels of training are useful, so that if for some unfortunate reason disaster strikes any of the islands during hurricane season or whatever, if we were able to raise some funds to deploy some of the Black Cross nurses to help in whatever capacity, as well as some legions who know how to put up tents and control the perimeter and do all the basic functions that this emergency response unit does. If the Red Cross can do it, the Black Cross can do it. That's the aim. We need even our own ambulances, in case someone in the community gets sick. In this area where I live in Washington D.C., there's a lot of people who have drug overdoses who just need basic CPR. Who need thing they got Narcan or whatever, all these different things. But if the closest hospital is 15 miles away and it's going to take forever to get there, that person is dead. But if we have the capacity and the visibility to help people in whatever capacity, even if it starts with feeding people and having a fundraising party, friends of the Black Cross nurses or whatever, and we can do some of the basic, anything we can do at least on a rudimentary level would be a help toward doing things on a greater level. And I think the people would flock to the auxiliary, even just being visible in parades, like I say, doing different things would be useful. So that the need is going to arise at some point, and that no training is lost or comes back void. Anything you learn, you'll find a way to apply and help the community eventually. So there's ways of raising some funds to get that training if necessary as well.
Yeah. Antoinette, how big were the classes at UWI? Meaning, when you did it, was it a large class? A lot of people are enrolled to get that training, or was it just a few of you? Antoinette? Oh, I don't know if she's hearing me. But Mar, you're right, and I think even on the
I'm here, sir. Yes, I didn't hear that.
No, I was asking how, when you did the class at UWI, how big was it? Were there a lot of people who enrolled for that training, or was the classes small? You hearing me?
The class is small, sir.
There were only a few in your class, like what?
It was
10?
like 6 of us.
6?
Yes, it was 6 of us, sir.
Wow. Okay.
6.
Yeah, I got you. Well, certainly Mariama makes a point in terms of, even the whole uniform look of the auxiliaries and the way Garvey did it is what made it attractive. And that even recruits more people to the UNIA, people seeking to become a part of these auxiliaries. So I really think we need to find a way to revitalize it, to make it more prominent in terms of the visibility of the UNIA, and to provide these services to certain communities would be a great recruiting tool, but also, you know, something that would be welcomed and appreciated by the larger population. So, you know, let's put our heads together and see. You've given me some leads there, Antoinette. Now I know that there is a course for the emergency medicine, the cost of it, and we can also look into how we can organize. You know, it could be that we organize a club in the nursing school that in itself becomes the auxiliary. That could also be an approach. But, you know, to organize a club in the school is not that simple. We got to approach the administration. We got to impress them. We got to get them to allow us to come in there, and then we got to begin recruiting. You guys know how it is, and how it has been on your campus. All right. All right. So something to think about. I saw Andre log in for a second and then leave. I wanted to bring up the idea of the legions and how we could start this on the actual campuses, as something, as a you know, something to attract more men to the campus, because that's one of the things we are suffering from on these college campuses, is that the female population greatly outweighs the male population at times. So something to bear in mind. 2 minutes before 5 o'clock. I'm not going to take you all later than that. I really want to thank you all for joining. It was great seeing some of you, including Melda, including Yassine. Great presentation, Antoinette. Thanks for logging on from across the sea there, Maria Ma, Brother Malik from London, and Lady President Allen in resource. A number of your officers logged on. That was good to see too. Please send my greetings to President Yahya and tell him he was missed today. Any final comments before we log out?
Thanks for having me, sir.
You did a great job. We loved it. Very inspirational. Melda, I see your hands up, but you got my message, right? You can WhatsApp me. We talk about the school.
Yes, I got your message, so I will definitely do that.
All right. Yassine, great seeing and hearing you. Congratulations on the family, and I didn't even ask earlier how the family is doing, but I hope everybody's doing well, and settling in America well.
Yes, sir. Everybody is okay.
Excellent. Don't be a stranger. Stay in touch.
Okay. Thanks for having me.
Anytime. Janique, OMG Mobile Fitness. I'm going to start calling you that. But thanks for logging on, right? And put a message in the chat, say, you know, more division members needed to have log on. We have these big numbers in groups, and when meeting come around, we see too few faces. Brother Minister, blessed love. Mariama, give thanks.
Give thanks.